Once upon a time, in a small village in Africa, there was a boy named Kofi. Kofi's life was full of ups and downs, and the story begins with the beautiful love of his parents. Kofi's father, Mr. Kwame, was a successful businessman. One day, on a business trip to the big city, he happened to meet Mrs. Amma, a smart and beautiful woman. The two quickly fell in love and later got married, living happily together. Their happiness was even more complete when Mrs. Amma announced that she was pregnant. However, life was not always smooth. When Mrs. Amma was pregnant with Kofi, Mr. Kwame's company went bankrupt and all its assets were lost. Mr. Kwame was devastated, and when Kofi was born, he could not overcome the pain and passed away. Kofi grew up with the love of his mother and grandparents, but his presence always reminded them of Mr. Kwame's loss. Kofi's grandparents could not accept the painful truth, and they began to become cold and unloving towards Kofi. Every day, they forced him to go to the forest to collect firewood until dark before returning home. Kofi and his mother were not allowed to eat at the table with everyone else, but had to sit on the ground to eat. Finally, they decided to chase Kofi and his mother out of the house in the pouring rain. In the dark, stormy night, thunder and lightning continuously rumbled. The whole road was deserted. Not a single person was walking. Kofi and his mother wandered together on this road, looking for a place to shelter from the rain. The occasional flashes of lightning only made them feel more lonely. The rain became more intense. Each drop of rain fell like cold ice on their skin, soaking both of their clothes. They tried to protect each other, but could not avoid the rain that made every finger and every corner of their bodies start to feel cold. After a long walk in the rain, they suddenly noticed an abandoned house standing in the middle of the lawn, deserted under the shade of an old oak tree. This house seemed to be deserted, but in this rain, this was an ideal place to take shelter from the rain. The two of them led each other closer to the house. The windows were tightly closed. The old wooden floorboards were 5 steps high. They sneaked into the abandoned house, where there was only darkness and a musty smell. However, in the cold of the rainy night, this house still gave a feeling of safety compared to outside. The two of them sat close to each other. They said nothing, just sat there silently, listening to the sound of rain falling outside the window and the distant rumble of thunder. Under the firelight from the lightning, they could only look at each other and hug each other, feeling more comfortable in the rain outside. And then, the two of them gradually closed their eyes, quietly falling asleep, leaving the abandoned house in this place, where only the sound of rain and the quiet atmosphere of the night remained. The next morning, they moved to a small house on the edge of the village, where Mrs. Amma worked hard to support the mother and son. Every day, after school, Kofi always helped his mother with housework and went to collect firewood. He also took advantage of his free time to collect plastic bottles along the road to be able to make a living. At school, Kofi was not treated well by his friends. His classmates often avoided and looked down on him because he did not have a father. But Kofi always kept his patience and determination. His mother always taught him that no matter how difficult it was, as long as he tried and did not give up, everything would be fine. One day, while collecting firewood in the forest, Kofi happened to meet a strange old man. The old man looked at him with gentle eyes and said, "You are a special child. You have a hidden strength inside you. Always remember that courage and love will help you overcome all difficulties." Kofi listened to the old man and kept it in mind. From then on, whenever he encountered difficulties, he always remembered his mother's teachings. He studied and worked hard, helping his mother overcome difficult days. Kofi's efforts and perseverance were gradually recognized and respected by everyone in the village. Years passed. Kofi grew up to be a strong and intelligent young man. He decided to pursue his dream of becoming an engineer so that he could rebuild what his family had lost. With the help of his mother and his determination to never give up, Kofi passed the entrance exam to a prestigious university and started a new journey. After many years of studying and working tirelessly, Kofi finally achieved his dream. He became a talented engineer and used his knowledge to rebuild the village, bringing prosperity and happiness to everyone. On the afternoon walk, the gentle sunlight shone down on Kofi and his mother who were walking together. Suddenly, they discovered an old man wearing tattered clothes, lying upside down on the side of the road. Kofi's mother walked closer to ask, and at this moment, she realized that this man was none other than Kofi's grandfather and grandmother, the two people who had once been dark and chased her and her son out of the house. Realizing the presence of Kofi and his mother, they were no longer themselves and did not dare to look them in the face. At first, they only intended to leave, perhaps because they felt ashamed and regretful for what they had done. However, Kofi's actions were completely unexpected and full of kindness. Kofi not only kept them but also brought them to his home. There, he and his mother prepared a sumptuous meal and provided them with clean clothes. This showed the willingness to forgive and the tolerance that Kofi and his mother had for the two people who had hurt them. Kofi's acceptance and forgiveness of his grandparents, even after they had treated him and his mother badly, was a very noble act. This order not only helped to reduce the burden of hatred in their hearts, but also opened up opportunities for reconciliation and creation. Kofi's actions could also help his grandparents realize the consequences of their past actions and lead to remorse and sympathy. This could be the first step in the process of understanding and learning from their mistakes. Kofi's story became an inspiration to many people in the village. People began to realize that it was courage and love that helped Kofi overcome all difficulties and achieve things that seemed impossible. Kofi and his mother, Amma, now live a life full of joy and happiness. They have proven that no matter how harsh life is, as long as you maintain patience, love, and do not give up, everything good will come. And so, Kofi's story is still told from generation to generation, becoming a legend of courage and love, forever living in the hearts of the people of that small village.